You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. We're now rocking with Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. And we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. Once again, I'm Big Q, and this is podcast 311. Sports Coma 311, Saints versus Rams recap. This ridiculousness, the robbery of the Saints in the Superdome by the laughable NFL. I got a horn sound effect that I have on the show that I usually use, because I had a feeling that in a game as big as this, they'll have some flukiness that come out by the NFL, the National Football, I should say the NFL, the National Football Entertainment League, because this is what it's coming down to, man. This is absolutely insane. And this one we'll have interviews from Coach Payton with his raw emotion, Drew Brees, what he thought about it. Stats, facts, breakdown on the game. Of course, all the stupidity that you're seeing. We'll have the thumbs up, thumbs down as usual following most post games. We'll try to give you an injury report. But what can I say, family? What could I say? I had to take a couple of hours. I was going to set up, and we was going to have everybody come in and fire it up, and we were set. But everybody here was peeved. Peeved is not the word. Everybody here was extremely pissed, excuse my Portuguese, about what happened in this game between the Saints and the Rams. And obviously, we're going to talk about the fact that the Saints, the penalty that wasn't called, the helmet to helmet, not to mention the guy literally ran Tommy Lee Lewis over. Didn't look back for the ball, the most clear-cut and the textbook definition of pass interference. 4 or 5 referees on the goddamn field. Cameras everywhere. It's the NFC Championship game, for God's sakes. Not one of those stinking, rotten referees threw a flag on that play. That's the crystalline one that really stuck out to me. Of course, if the flag was thrown, the game was over with. But is that really why we lost this game? Everybody's stuck on the emotion, and trust me, we all here. The producer here, he's pissed. It's just really sad, man. But it brings home the reality of the NFL. The reality of the fact that the league controls the officials from on high. And they, of course, when Sean Payton called and said, the league office and said they blew the call, that's not good enough for me. That is not good enough for me. An apology from the NFL's league office about it. It doesn't impact the game. It doesn't reverse the game. It doesn't affect what happens. We still ultimately lose the game. Now, is that the main reason why we lost the game? Of course not. Of course not. The Saints should have put this damn team away in the first half, and they played around. They were too conservative. Sean Payton, throughout the season, instead of taking field goals, he would go for it on 4th down, kicking field goals. You cannot beat the Rams with field goals. Couldn't beat them with field goals. We were too conservative. And I understand the calls. And I'm going to just be honest with you. We're going to go over that, and I'm going to break it down and just lay it out here, because this is totally preposterous and stupid. And you can hear all these experts talk about, oh, the Saints were robbed. Listen, let me tell you something. In large parts, we did this to ourselves. I know y'all don't want to hear that right now, but I'm with you. But the reality of the situation is, like I know, the Saints should have won this game and we're up on this team going into the second half. It shouldn't have been we were leading this team 13-0 or 13-10 going into the halftime. We should have been beating this team at least with the touchdown that made it 17-10 going into halftime. It's sad, though. Let's go over some statistics in this game. The Saints, man, wow, 19 first downs for both teams in this affair. Total plays, Saints had 64 plays versus 68 by the Rams. 290 total yards, period, for the Saints versus 378 by the Rams. Total drives, Saints had 12-11. Average 4.5 on yards per play. Rams 5.6. The Saints had 242 yards passing, 301 for the Rams. 77 yards rushing for the Rams, a lousy 48 yards rushing. And that's why I'm going to build my case after hitting you with the statistics. That's where I'm going to start my case at. It is utterly ridiculous and stupid that all we were able to muster was a lousy 48 yards off of 21 carries. Mark Ingram should have been made more use of in this game. Ben Watson didn't suit up. Josh Hill was our type tight end. He was met with a helmet-to-helmet that knocked him out of the game with a concussion. No call was made on that one either. So all it left us with was Dan Arnold, who's obviously not ready to play in this league right now. Obviously not ready. He wasn't ready for the play when it came down to it. And I go back to that catch because you do not drop touchdowns in the goddamn NFC Championship game. One game from the freaking Super Bowl. You do not drop touchdown passes or even third down pass. It was doubly crippling. It was a third down pass dropped by Dan Arnold in the end zone. They weren't even looking for him. You can't say the guy swiped at his hand and hit his hand. He caught the ball, they all have the sticky gloves and still couldn't secure the ball. It popped out. And I go to that play because had he caught the goddamn ball like he was paid to do in the NFC freaking championship game, the score would have ultimately been 17-10 at halftime. And of course, that would have made all the difference in the game if you'd have went forward. Didn't quite end like that. Saints were 2 of 3 in the red zone. 2 of 5 in the red zone. The Rams were 2 of 4. Rams were flagged with 7 penalties for 64 yards. Saints only 3 penalties for 20 yards. Both teams had turnovers. Drew Brees' turnover. It was absolutely horrible. It was horrible. This was horrible. The Saints had this team on the ropes. They could have finished them off in the first half. Drop passes. Drop touchdowns. Poor coverages. Suspect play calling late in the game during regulation after the Ted Ginn Jr. reception that got him deep into the 20-yard on the opposing team, 20 late in regulation. Less than 2 minutes left. Sean Payton suspect play calling. Trying to throw the ball to Mike Thomas. He drops it. That hurts him. Had he stuck to more of a run-based attack, the clock could have kept turning, and maybe they could have got a score. Perhaps you go for it right there with the score tied at 20-20. Perhaps you go for it, being that if you don't get it, you pin the Rams back up against the goal line, which is an uncomfortable position. Why would you not go there? That's my question. If it's for the big dance, why would you be so conservative? Why? Why would you not attack? Didn't end up that way. Settled for a field goal. Left too much time on the clock. The Rams marched down and made it play. You're going to hear these guys and players always, they're going to talk about that. They play so that the referee don't impact the game. I don't count on the referees to give us nothing because at the end of the day, you can't count on the referees as it's shown. Now, before I tell you who these funky, rotten, underhanded bastards are, referees, excuse my French, let's hear what Sean Payton had to say. When he talked to the lead official and they literally admitted and say, hey, we blew it. That's not good enough for me, man. Get the hell out of my face with this. I blew it called crap. This was some setup stuff, obvious some setup stuff because they're trying to beef up the Rams, what they got going on out there in Los Angeles with the new stadium coming in. and it will look better. The Rams, the city of Los Angeles, don't want professional sports. The NFL's forcing it on them. They're trying to do what they're doing in New York. It's a whole little money play the greedy, underhanded ass NFL is up to. But anyway, besides that, let's go into what Sean Payton has to. Let's hear what he has to say about what happened in this game. Here we go.
Off the phone with the league office, they blew the call, and man, there were a lot of opportunities though. But that call puts it 1st and 10. We're on an E3 plays, and it's a game-changing call, and that's where it's at. So it's disappointing. Credit the Rams. They made enough plays though. They won the game. The kicker made some big kicks, but for a call like that not to be made, man, it's just hard to swallow. And then to get a phone call. Someone turn that off a little bit. Anyway, so what do? You get back up and you start going to work. This will be a tough one for these players, for the coaches. And again, Rams did a great job. It was a well-fought game, hard-fought game. But any questions? It was simple. They blew the call. They said it should never have not been a call. They said not only was it interference, it was helmet to helmet. There were 2 calls. They couldn't believe it. So that was no. We spoke initially, then I called to follow up, and the first thing Al said when I got on the phone, we messed it up. And but we go into these league meetings, and we sit as an ownership group, and we don't further evaluate the replay system. You know, there's just too much at stake. And it's a hard job for those guys because it's happening fast. But I don't know if there was ever a more obvious pass interference call that, you know, here it is, the NFC Championship game. So, tough one to swallow.
Coach, did you get any explanation on the field?
Yeah, the normal, like, hey, we thought they arrived at the same time, you know, that kind of thing. But a little bit. Look, we knew the last 7 weeks this team had really shifted defensively to more of a zone principle. So there was a lot more zone coverage, some brackets. But his concussion affected us some, and yet, you know, it's part of the in-game process of dealing with it. But listen, they played well. They played well. I mean, our team played well enough to.
Dice is on the beat.
That's Coach Sean Payton, man. I can't stand with the foolishness about we played well. We didn't play well enough, man. Anytime we leave the hands and the game in the hands of the referees is never a good thing. Never a good thing, as you can see. It was totally horrible. It was despicable what it came up to. Rusty Baines, Bruce Strinsky, Bill Vinovich, Tom Hill, Gary Cavallito, Todd Krukup, and Pat Turner. They had 6 stinking zebras on the field, and not one of them pulled out a flag on that one. Anyway, we'll finish up on the rest of this game, interviews and other things on the other side of the break. Stick with us. You listen to the Sports Coma. Rams Saints NFC Championship recap on the PRO Media Network.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. What's up, sports world? It's Big Q. Talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Box, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that? Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma. Big Q and the guys recapping the sad affair, the Saints versus the Rams NFC Championship game spoiled by, I don't know what it's spoiled by, to be honest with you, fam. This is totally ridiculous, repugnant, stupid, garbage, anything you can name. Absolutely horrible that they had 6 officials on the field in the NFC Championship game. And and just like the experts, to sit up there and complain about the obvious call wasn't a bang play. Any fool with eyes could see that was a pass interference. The guy he never turned around. He ran him over, helmet to helmet, 2 penalties in the same play. And I bet you those bastards going to turn around and issue a fine on that guy next week. That's not good enough for me. It's absolutely terrible. Pardon my French on that. It's just frustrating. It's sad because some people count on officials, but I've known that the officials have no integrity. Whatever the league tell them to do, they're just going to do it. It is unfathomable that 6 referees, I just named off 6 men on the previous break, were on the field. Not one of them threw a flag on that play. You mean to tell me that was a coincidence that 6 of them, no one actually threw a flag on that play? It's the NFC Championship game. All the eyes, it's hundreds of cameras, hundreds of people watching the game, and not one of them seen that play. But that wasn't the only thing that they missed. What about the countless holding penalties? The players can't talk about this stuff like that. They can't make mention of it. That's why we got Saints fans and Saints players, actual Saints players that's on a team that listens to this show because they know we breeding it. We repping the truth. Those guys can't talk and criticize the officials. They'll be fined for that. That'll look bad on the league for them to criticize the supposed referees because it messes with the integrity of the game. Well, guess what? The NFL has no integrity. It's the same damn league that suppressed data on concussion issues for for countless of years just to hide so they don't get sued for that. It's the same disagreeable, evil, greedy ass league it's always been. And it's just repugnant to me because the ugly, the good, the bad, and this is one of the ugly things that you see when you see foul things like this because they're going to admit to a mistake, but it's a lot more devious than them missing a call. What about all of the other calls, all of the countless holding penalties that the Rams were allowed to get with in this game? The holding around the necks of people like Cam Jordan. When Cam Jordan actually he sacked Golf. When he actually got to Golf, the guy was holding them then. Arms around the necks, hooking of the defensive lineman to stop them from getting to the quarterback. All this was going on. Countless holding penalties. The referees refused to throw the penalties. You want to sit up here and talk about the cornerback who passed interference, Tommy Lee Lewis, the same cornerback that passed interference to other wide receivers and wasn't called. He was the same cornerback that hooked Michael Thomas in the end zone on the touchdown, the attempted touchdown. He hooked him the first time. That was illegal. Then ran into him with his helmet and never looked back for the ball. He was so out of control. The fool hit him and landed, and his helmet came off. Then another play, he ran over Ted Ginn Jr. and got there before the ball got there. It was so many bad calls, 9 calls. It was clear. Don't play with my intelligence. I know what I'm seeing, and I know that this shit's scripted. I know that it's scripted, meaning that they chose uniformly not to make certain calls. You can't have 6 referees out there and none of them make calls when they're supposed to make calls. Somebody going to see the play and throw a flag. When Sean Payton jumped up and down, did you see the expression of the referee when he jumped up and down? Did you see his face like, chill out, we got this, move out the way? Business as usual. Did you see the sucker's face? Anyway, let's go to Drew Brees. Let's hear what Drew Brees had to say about this loss, because this was a bad one.
It's tough to swallow, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I think plenty of times throughout the season, you know, there's calls that go against you or go for you, or they miss or they didn't. But obviously in a situation like that, where it seemed like everybody in the world saw it, that's tough. It's tough. No, it didn't. It didn't. After that, listen, you're going to play ball, you know, just like you would throughout the season when something like that might happen, or a call goes your way or it doesn't. You're on to the next play, right? You can't let it bother you. So it had no bearing on overtime, at least not for me. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Thought we had a chance to go down and get. Yeah. Listen, we love the Who Dat Nation. We love the city of New Orleans. We love being able to play for them. Because that's what we do. You know, we play for them. They provide such an unbelievable atmosphere here within the Dome, and this Dome symbolizes a lot more than just football, and there's a great connection there. So we love our fans. Man, they were awesome today. They've been awesome ever since I've been here. Best fans in professional sports.
That's Drew Brees breaking down his thoughts on the game, some of his thoughts anyway. But in the background of the interview, you can hear fans yelling to the top of their lungs, "We were robbed, dude." And, of course, he was saying some other language I cannot mention. But this show, please pardon my language. I know you guys are frustrated. I'm frustrated, too. But the part of it also is the fact that they think they're playing with your intelligence by showing you something and say, oh, we just blatantly just made a mistake. That's not a mistake what they're doing. That is not a mistake. And I don't care what you say, but if you have 2 brain cells to rub together, you understand what's going on here. You understand the politics and business end of the NFL, which is the ugly end that gets in the way of the competition. May the best teams win. Don't try to force other teams together because you have a $1 billion stadium set to go into the Los Angeles market who don't deserve pro football because they don't support the teams that they don't go and watch and play. And then you think by helping them get to a Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl that helps solidify a fan base so that you can fill that $1 billion stadium that you're building up out there. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's just garbage. Going to some of the statistics, Drew Brees, 26 of 40 in this one for 249, averaging about 6 yards to throw, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked a couple of times, back-to-back plays, ultimately to no effect. Mark Ingram, 9 carries for 31 yards. He had a long run of about 16 yards. And Elvin Kamara, 8 carries for 15 yards. Ultimately, 21 carries for 48 yards between them. Now, listen, let me tell you something. That's where I fault Sean Payton at. It was totally stupid for him not to run the ball more with Mark Ingram, especially in the second half of the game. There's nothing wrong with Mark Ingram. These type of games is when you put your heavy hitter back in there and let him run it. He looked really smooth in this game. I don't understand why he didn't go to him more and why he was trying to force the throw as much as he did. Way too conservative for this game. You don't play conservative like this when it get down to you remember the old saying that fortune favors the bold. Well, that's what it's about. And Sean McVay was bold enough to do fake punts and all this kind of stuff. And look what happens. You can't beat that team with field goals. Another thing, looking at the receivers, Michael Thomas was held in check. He was thrown that 7 times, 4 catches for 36 yards. Ted Ginn Jr. had 3 catches for 58 yards. Elvin Kamara was the man, 11 catches for 96 yards. None of those guys I just named, by the way, had a touchdown. None of which. Josh Hill had 1 catch for 24 yards. He was knocked out of the game by helmet to helmet, no call. When he left out of there, Garrett Griffin, big ups to him. He listens to the Sports Coma. He was activated. He had two catches for 12 yards and a score, big score. Traquan Smith was a non-factor in this game. Two attempts to throw at him. He had 1 catch for 10 yards. Everybody else was very minuscule. Dan Arnold was thrown at twice in this game. Didn't get anything. He had that horrible touchdown drop. And I go back to that because if he had caught the damn ball like you trained to do, all you have to do besides block and run routes is to catch the freaking ball. That's all you have to do, Dan Arnold. And this whole deal about the cornerbacks cheating and grabbing and holding and the referees not making calls would not even exist if the Saints would actually play their game. This would have not happened. Catch the damn ball. Defensively for the Saints, top leaders were, of course, Demario Davis. This man had 14 tackles in this game. 14 tackles. P.J. Williams, who was burnt a couple of times. It's just what P.J. is. It's just what he is. He's just a guy that is just going to get burnt. And he got burnt for some big plays in this game. A.J. Klein, big respect for him. He had 7 tackles in this game. He played really well. Marshawn Lattimore actually did a pretty damn good job of shutting down Cooks because he had 7 catches for 107 yards but no touchdowns. He kept him out of the end zone, and that was pretty respectable. Marcus Williams, 5 tackles. Eli Apple played well, 4 tackles. Von Bell had an injury, but he came back, 4 tackles. Alex Okafor played well. Tyler Davison, both those guys had 4 tackles. Marcus Davenport had 3 tackles, so did Cam and a sack, and then Alex Anzalone and Tyler Stallworth. Now, of course, Alex Anzalone was responsible for letting Higbee sneak out and get a touchdown because he was watching in the backfield and he was supposed to cover the tight end. The tight end snuck out there and got a touchdown on him. See, when you make mistakes, small mistakes like that, it come back to bite you in the butt. Then you look for the referee to save you. It won't happen. It didn't happen. We shouldn't expect those type of things. Of course, the referee blew the call. He blew. There were more than just this one signature call when a man ran over him and they didn't throw any flags. It was more than that. They were not calling holding penalties against the offensive line for the Rams. They were hooking and holding our pass rushers all damn night. No flags. I watched several plays where the referee was staring directly at the man while he was hooking Cam Jordan, and the sumbitch didn't draw a flag. Just what it was. The fix was in, is what I'm trying to tell you. The fix was in. The Rams may represent more revenue because of their stadium. It's about the money. It's always been about the money. Let's not fool ourselves here. Let's stay smart and intelligent adults while we enjoy football, but understand there's a good, a bad, and an ugly side. And we've seen the ugly side tonight. But be that as it may, we have to also take into account that the fact that the Saints had opportunities to put this damn game away, and they blew it. They didn't run the ball enough. But I can give you key examples. I'm going to go back to it. Dan Arnold's dropped touchdown. Why are we not talking about that? He had it in his damn hands and dropped it. That was a 3rd down and a touchdown drop when you had to settle for a field goal. If he caught the touchdown like he was supposed to, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Saints would be playing for their 2nd Super Bowl. But you make mistakes in the biggest game of your career, you're going to suffer. You can't give the Rams extra opportunities to get back in this thing by kicking a bunch of field goals. Outside of that, they played the final play in regulation when Drew Brees completed a deep pass down the field to Ted Ginn Jr. to put them inside the 20-yard line. What did Sean Payton do? What kind of calling was that? What kind of foolish calling was that? Trying to throw the ball. Why didn't he run the ball, set up the run, and run the ball to work the clock and give them, if you're going to kick the field goal, give them at least the least possible time that you can leave on the clock. Didn't do it. Left them a minute and some change on the clock. They marched down the field, kick a field goal, tie the game. Saints get the ball back in overtime. What happens? Drew Brees throws interception because the guy beats him on the inside, hits his hand, and then the rest is history. You're on the wrong side of history. It's just absolutely asinine to me to lose in this game because the referees didn't play. But listen, if you really calm down and get out of your emotional mind and get to your logic mind, you can agree with me and say, you know what, Q, you're absolutely right. We lost this game because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We didn't shut the door on the Rams in the second half before the second half came along like we were supposed to. We dropped passes. We dropped touchdowns. Sean Payton didn't call the best game plan. He had in the third quarter, he had a suspect thing when there was a penalty. We were 10-yard penalty. We were 2nd and 10. What did Sean Payton call out of the gate? A dive play to get 3 yards, and then he's now 3rd and 17. What kind of play calling was that? Is what I'm saying. A better game plan should have been called to that. We should have been more run or centered to eat the clock up. That wasn't the case. So it was a lot of other stuff besides the 9 calls by the officials that lent it to the Saints losing this game. But everybody's caught on that. You can't look for the referees to save you all the time because most of the times they're not going to be there, especially in these tough games when you're counting on them to do the right thing. The son of a you-know-whats are not going to do it. Like tonight, you had 6 referees in this game, and not one of them made the hold. They didn't call the holding calls. They didn't call the 3 calls that the cornerback that was holding that ran over Tommy Lee Lewis, and that guy's name, what the hell is that son of a bitch name? Nicky Roby Coleman. Nicky Roby Coleman was responsible. He passed interference 3 times. One on Ted Ginn Jr., one on Michael Thomas in the end zone when he hooked him, and the 3rd time when he just absolutely just ran over Tommy Lee Lewis. But you had 6 officials. Now none of them threw a flag because the fix was in. You can't. That's just impossible. Somebody would have threw a flag. There's 6 people out there, and none of them. They all decided at the same time not to throw the flag. And the NFL said, "Well, we just dropped the ball." You did more than drop the ball. You put the fix in. But outside of that, let's go to our thumbs up and thumbs down segment. Thumbs up, man. Thumbs up. Who can I actually get a thumbs up to in this matchup? I don't know. You know what? Elvin Kamara gets my thumb. Elvin Kamara, I'm going to give it to 2 people. Elvin Kamara gets my thumbs up. He had 8 carries for 15 yards, but he was 11 catches for 96 yards on 13 targets. And also the brilliant play of Demario Davis. I got to give it to Demario Davis. 14 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pass defense. Demario Davis was stellar in this game. So thumbs up to both Kamara and Demario Davis. And my thumbs down player goes to Dan Arnold and PJ. Well, I could throw PJ Williams in. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to let Dan Arnold eat this one all by itself. Dan Arnold, who filled in for Benjamin Watson, who was shelved before the game, appendicitis. Josh Hill had a helmet-to-helmet in the game. He had 1 catch for 24 yards. Guy hit him in the helmet. He was knocked out of the game under concussion protocol. Referees didn't throw a flag. Up comes Griffin comes in there, plays well, gets a couple of catches and a touchdown. Big ups to him. And Dan Arnold comes in and literally has 2 targets, no catches, and he drops the most important ball of his career, which was a wide open a touchdown from Drew Brees. A wide open touchdown, this guy drops it. He gets my damn thumbs down, because if he had hauled in the ball, we wouldn't be talking about Roby Coleman's running pass interference in the league not giving him anything. And then you know what the rival coach says? McVay comes out and says is that he felt like the referees were letting us play. You see, you're only upset. It's only upset if it happens to them, but they get the game. They don't belong there. They don't deserve it. But yet and still, thanks to the NFL, they got a opportunity to get in there. So, it's one of those things, people. So like I said, we can, let's just take it all in and just remember this moment. It's not as painful as the Minnesota Miracle, which that didn't make any damn sense for a guy to close his eyes and throw his body at a player. That one, we've been through some tragedy the last 2 years with the Saints. This one is not so bad versus the Minnesota Miracle. But hey, what can I tell you, man? We have to regroup and come back at them again. And our season is the end of the season, and our off season starts today. So we got to get some players re-signed. We got to make some smarter moves on the draft. We have to call better games. We have to empower our defense, especially in the secondary. Get P.J. Williams out of here and Ken Crawley out of here. And then we're going to try this thing again next year. So I'd like to thank y'all for joining us here at the Sports Coma episode 311, Saints versus Rams recap. Later in the week, I said probably Monday, we'll have a live edition where you can call in, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this loss. Very painful, but not as worse as the Minnesota Miracle. But hey, we'll be back. We're resilient. But thank you for listening to Sports Coma. I'm Big Q. If you like the show, go to patreon.com. Join our social media and support our sponsors. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.
Go Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products, and you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
What's up, Sports World? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share, and help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.